Welcome to Kelly Minds Her Manners, a podcast about real estate and entrepreneurship with a twist. Here's your host, Kelly Robinson.
Welcome to Kelly Minds Her Manners. I'm so happy to be with you today, and I am happy to have Marcus Abbott with me. Marcus is the CEO of Strength Brigade, a cutting-edge fitness facility dedicated to the continued training and mentorship of athletes in their respective sports, spanning from young athletes all the way through professional athletes. Not only was Marcus a high school football star and a D1 college football player, but he is a military veteran who is extremely decorated. He has a Purple Heart. He has the Combat Action Badge. He has a Good Conduct Medal, NATO Ribbon, and Afghan Campaign Medal. He is an incredible person. He's an empath, and we talk about some of the benefits of being an empath as well as some of the struggles about being an empath and what he sees in others and his unwavering dedication to giving back to his community. I can't wait for you to hear who his ultimate mentor and role model is and everything about him. He has accomplished so much at such a young age. Please welcome Marcus Abbott. So Marcus, thank you so much for being on Kelly Minds Her Manners. I am so excited to speak with you today.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me on. I'm here today representing myself, Marcus Abbott, and Strength Brigade. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about myself.
It's my pleasure. So let's dive in. I don't know about you, but I feel like people's early life, their failures or their obstacles have so much to do with their success in a good way. And I love to hear how you've grown over the years. So you've had a really interesting and inspiring journey. You've done so much. It's in such a short amount of time. You're so young and you've accomplished so many incredible things. Many people would say you're a hero. So I'd like to start from the beginning. Where did you grow up and what was childhood like for you?
I would attest all that to my early upbringing in Port Arthur, Texas. I was raised by Melvin Branch and Nadine Abbott in Port Arthur, Texas, and I went to Port Arthur Memorial High School. Played football there for a little while, did very well.
Yeah.
My dad, he expected me, to go play college football. I expected myself to as well. But lo and behold, expectations don't come without work. So I did not put the work behind it, and it showed in my grades. I had everything it took to be an athlete, but just did not have the grades to make it to college. So that's when I started falling back on my roots and on my dad, my uncles, a lot of people that I looked up to either had served in the military or played some sort of Division I college football. So I had two choices.
I was going to ask you, because you are such a dedicated individual now, and I was going to ask you what led to you going into the military when the academic part of high school didn't lead you to go play D1 football after being a huge football star in high school. What led you to the military? Was it just the fact that there was a legacy there with your family, or did you really have a passion, a desire to serve your country from a young age?
Well, I think that's a passion of my within my family. We all are proud to serve in the military. It's not an obligation to us. It's more like a service to us. I've always had the goal to help people, whether it was in the military, through football, I knew I had to help people. And when I did not make it to play college football, I knew that my chances started to die down. So I had to make a decision. Port Arthur, Texas is not the place you want to sit around and figure your life out. There's not a lot to do there. It's definitely a place you want to go back and give to. But if you are lost and trying to find your way, you gotta kind of motivate yourself to get out. So I made a decision to go do what I know that I could be effective doing.
Yeah. You sound like a very empathetic person. Do you consider yourself an empath? Do you feel other people's pain?
Yes. And sometimes that's a little too much. Those are the qualities that I like to possess. It makes me care too much when I like that about myself. I'm all in for my clients. I'm all in for my students, my players. It was before the military. It's always been inside me. And when I was playing football, I was always putting my team before myself. My body really didn't matter to me as long as the team got to the goal or the accomplishment that we needed.
It sounds like you would have made a very good captain. And you clearly put yourself before people in the military. You are a very decorated soldier. In 5 years, you earned the Combat Action Badge, a Purple Heart, a Good Conduct Medal, a NATO ribbon, and an Afghan Campaign Medal. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so all of that was received on one deployment when I deployed to Afghanistan in June of 2010. I served for 11 months out there in theater. That was the time where Coach Six, I haven't introduced him. That is what the kids call me. That is what the football world calls me, is Coach Six.
So is that your nickname?
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
So if you want to call me that, Kelly, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, Coach Six. That's what I'm calling you.
I started to learn a lot about myself and what I was really capable of. I thought I was a grinder. I thought I was a dog before I went to the military, because I played football and I could work out for 6 hours a day. And then that first day of basic training really humbled me. I'll never forget one of my first squadron runs. And we get to the first mile and I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. We get to the second mile, I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. We get to the third mile, and mind you, I'm 6'2", 320 pounds. I'm not cut out to run miles. Mm-hmm. And the sergeant comes up to me, he's like, this is different. You're going to find out something about yourself. And I surely did. In that 9 weeks, I found out that I was not a man. I was truly a boy. And I came out of basic training, and it started shaping a man who not only cared about himself, but the 150 men and women I had around me. You go through basic training and you think you got it all figured out. You get dropped off at your unit, and then all of a sudden you find out why you did all that training.
Yeah.
First 2 years of the military was very, let's say, calm. There was nothing really going on other than training. That was intense, but we didn't have any orders to go anywhere. So I was pretty much stagnant for almost 2 years for my first assignment, and then it dropped on us. One day we were sitting there, and I was having a few drinks with some buddies, and we were just enjoying the day, and all of a sudden we get told to come back to the battalion, and we got orders to go on a deployment. And that's when you could say that's when the fun started, or that's when everything kind of unfolded. They gave us some realistic stats, told us what the life expectancy was going to be, what the casualty rate was going to be, then sent us on our way.
Wow.
The next 11 months while serving, there was a few combat engagements. I don't really want to go into that.
Understood.
There were a few combat engagements that got me injured in combat, that is how I received my Purple Heart.
Wow. The
first time I got injured, I did not get medevac back. I elected to stay. I recovered out there.
Wow.
Returned to mission in 6 weeks. It was just one of those things. I kind of told myself it had to happen. It's probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make, because I had to decide between myself and my team. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad I made the decision I made, because it showed me that you always place the mission first. You cannot leave your team behind. I could have went home. I could have took a knee. I could have sat down for about 6 months and then came back. I knew deep down inside me that wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
And if I can make it one more step each day, then they'll take care of me and make sure I'm all right.
Well, thank you for your service. So following service, you attended Lamar University, where you competed at the Division I level in football. So you ended up going back to what you originally wanted to do. So everything came full circle.
Yeah.
Did your experience in the military change the way that you approached football after that?
1,000%. And I needed it. I'll tell you that I needed it, because it although I did not possess the college career that I wanted, the mindset it gave me was unmatched. I never complained during conditioning. I never tapped out. I never not wanted to go to team workouts. Division I college football players got to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and they don't get to bed until 9 p.m. at night. And that's if you don't have an exam in the morning. And that was a cakewalk for me, because that's every day, 24/7, 365 in the military. That's my schedule. So, but there is a huge but. I went through a huge transition phase from the military to civilian life. So although the mindset was there for college football, that transition phase, it did set me back about 2 years before I actually did get to play.
Well, that's understandable. How did it affect your work ethic when it came to schoolwork?
Now, with schooling was different from football. Football, I was locked in. Everything was easy. Yeah. With school, the military gives you everything's ran by a TM. Everything is a 40-hour class or a quick 30-minute exam. Me coming back to the college setting and a school setting, and me having to sit down and concentrate on something for more than 3 to 4 hours, it wasn't clicking to me at first. You know? So I struggled for probably about two years in college, as well as the transition phase, just coming back into it.
Yeah. Well, I love your honesty and vulnerability. I think it's awesome. After college, you wanted to make an impact in the community, and you offer coaching, training, and mentorship services. Tell me more about that.
So my training career started actually as an internship. I did an internship for Victorious Youth Mentorship Program. It's a nonprofit program in Port Arthur, Texas. They're still owned and operated by Don Holloway right now. He's doing a great job with those kids out there as well. But in 2017, I decided that my health was important. So I stepped away from college football, and I began investing my time in the nonprofit program, where we would just take the kids maybe 3 months out of the spring, once a month, and we would host mentorship training as well as football camps. And I noticed then, with my background in exercise science, that I had a gift to train and mentor. So I wanted to do it full time. So that's when I began my mission on opening Strength Brigade.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
I knew I had some connections in Seattle, Washington. That's where I served in the military, was in Fort Lewis. So I relocated myself up to Fort Lewis, Washington. That's when I got in touch with Ford Sports Performance and did my second internship, where I began to train NFL athletes, college athletes, and high school athletes alike. I just dove all in and haven't looked back.
So when you're dealing with NFL athletes, and especially new NFL athletes, brand new, what do you think the hardest thing for them to adjust to is?
For just the tempo from NFL to college, it turns into a job, for one. There's no room for error. You get hurt, your job's on the line.
Yeah.
This isn't college where you're guaranteed your 4-year scholarship as long as you keep up your grades. You stub your toe and they don't like it, you're out. So I would say just the lack of room for error is the hardest position for college players going to the NFL. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure that's got to be so, not just physically, but mentally trying for so many people, because it's all about perfectionism, and that's so hard to obtain.
Yeah, you get kids who are 17, 18, 19 years old. They are great athletes. There is not one guy who's up to go into the NFL who cannot play in the NFL. But that playbook goes from 400 pages to 1,000 pages really fast. And then the calls go from 10 calls to 25 calls really quick. And if you can't adjust, or you don't have, and it's not even the IQ, it's not about the IQ, it's about just the nerve, the mentality. Yeah. You're 17, 18 weeks deep into a season, and they still need you to perform at the same level you were at. It's tough. I would say football. I'll put a couple people on this on the app are probably going to come after me, but football is probably one of the most comparable sports to. I know it's not comparable. It is not. I'm never going to compare it, but just their season and what they have to go through, not seeing their families, the information they have to obtain and retain. It's crazy. It's crazy what we're asking athletes who play a sport to do, but they're the elite and we're paying them the highest. So they live up to the standard and they don't complain about it. So I get hats off to them.
Absolutely. And it's also hard to come into that kind of money so quickly. And then you want to spend it, right? And maybe you don't realize how much the government's going to take and you want to spend it, but you could get injured and your career could be over. And what we do on my team is we educate athletes, NIL players, as well as pro athletes who are new on how to build passive income through real estate investment so that they have another means of income. God forbid something happens or they decide they don't want to do it anymore. They have something else to fall back on. I've seen too many stories where people get injured and they don't have something else to fall back on and they're not in a good place. In 2021 is when you established the Strength Brigade, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that it's a cutting edge facility dedicated to the continued training and mentorship of athletes in their respective sports. So it's all sports, right? It's all different sports, or is it mainly football?
So I do specialize in offensive line training, but I have in the past always serviced all sports. Since transitioning out to California, where I'm currently at now, I'm only doing offensive linemen because I haven't really branched out yet. But yes, I have in the past coached and trained all sports.
And how did you come up with the idea to start this company?
The idea for Strength Brigade came back in 2017 when I started working on the Victorious Youth Project.
Okay.
We had a goal to open a facility for our youth. And honestly, the ultimate goal, Kelly, has always been for me to be nonprofit. I've never been into wanting to charge kids to train. It was always to be nonprofit like I started.
That's awesome.
That was the initial goal. As I got started training, though, I realized that there was a process to that. There were steps that I needed to take. And again, just going back to my military service, I like to do things by the book, which if I have to take my time, if it takes 5, 6, 7 years, then that's what it's going to have to take. So I've slowly been building up my clientele with Strength Brigade since 2021 and just letting it evolve from there.
They say the best startups and the best companies that were not formed quickly. They were formed slowly. There were setbacks. And those setbacks allowed those people who were starting those companies to really look back at what their plans were and rethink things and make them better. So slow and steady wins the race, as they say most of the time. So I think you're probably doing it the right way.
Thank you for saying that. I definitely have felt that over the years, like you said, what we've been through kind of shapes and molds how we're going to go through things in the future. Yeah. So what I've been through in the military has me prepared for the long haul. I understand that if I want a successful business, there's going to be a lot of years with a lot of losses. I'm in no way, shape, or form a business guru. I am a soldier. I serve this country, and I want to work. I want to work hard.
I love that.
That's what I've put behind this business, and that's why when I feel like a month is slow or I feel like training's dropping off, it never really gets to me, because in the first place, I wanted to do this for free. I wanted to do this as a nonprofit and give back to kids.
Yeah.
So if I never made a dime off of this, I sound crazy, but it would make me happy.
Well, you're an inspiring human. You have a good heart. Do you use some of the things that you work with in the behavioral health industry alongside your training? That's
actually something that I picked up over the last year. And yes, 100%. it has helped just understanding how to use my empathy.
Mm.
In behavioral health, you learn that it's not always helping people that helps people.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to show people how to help themselves. And if they cannot help themselves, you got to let them fail on their own. So early on in training, I was always hands-on. I have to have this client. I have to finish with this client. If this client doesn't finish with me, it's the end of the world, and I'm not going to feel accomplished. Well, no, it's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to service those who want to be serviced. And if I can service this person and show this person how to service themselves, my results will speak for themselves. And through behavioral health has really showed me a lot of that. I've seen a lot of our clients that come through my behavioral health job. They come in, and it's a 30-day program. They come in a different person, and they leave a different person. That's through work. It's through reps. And that was the work that they accomplished. They did.
What do you find is the most difficult part of being so empathetic?
At times, you put the needs of others before your own. And I'm not talking about food, gas, lights. I'm talking about mental health time, personal time for yourself, for your family. If I want to be a successful businessman, I have to have a balance I have to have a good work-life balance, right? So I have as much time and energy as I put into the business, I need to put that much time and energy into my family. Me being so empathetic, though, sometimes that takes a back seat because my clients are in need. The majority of my clients are high school kids. My NFL guys, my college guys, they only see me maybe 4 or 5 weeks out of the year because they live out of state, all over the place. So I really don't see them a lot.
Yeah.
But my high school kids are the ones who are there. They need me. They need rides. They need presence.
Yeah.
They're the ones who you have to be around.
Yeah.
But then you forget you also have a life that you have to invest in yourself. So being so empathetic towards your clientele and the people you serve, you forget. I have an identity myself. I still have to be Marcus in the morning.
Yeah.
Wake up as Marcus.
Yeah. And you need self-care, which is so hard as an empath. I understand because I am one. It took me a really long time to learn how to set and maintain my boundaries as somebody who's super empathetic, because you just want to do everything for everyone and you can't. You have to take care of yourself and have healthy boundaries. So I get it. So you have accomplished so much, and you're so humble, and you've accomplished so much at such a young age. What's next for you?
For me, next is to finish everything that I started. I think in life we give ourselves a lot of goals and a lot of things to do, and what sets people aside in that 1% statistic is you actually finishing those goals. And so the next step is to open a facility. Right now, I am training out of EBS Performance. Mm-hmm. I just would love to shout those guys out. They've done an amazing job there. Not only just what they do in South Orange County for the youth, but Marcus Epps and Karif Bird, they really started something special down there, and also giving me an opportunity to transition my business to SoCal and showing me the way. These guys are really taking me under their wing and giving me all the game that I need to take that next step. So opening my own facility and giving back to the youth is the ultimate goal in the end game.
Amazing. What is something that you would advise young people who are looking to either become entrepreneurs or start nonprofits like you?
Do it. Do it now. Don't wait. Every year we lose a year. Yeah. And that is something that you can get an LLC today. It takes no time. You can get a nonprofit today. It takes no time. But what takes time is your mental health, your body, just what you're able to go through, the amount of energy, the amount of drive you have. If you're 22, 23 years old thinking you don't know what to do and you want to start a business, do it. Just do it, because the worst thing it's going to do is fail, like every other business. And that's fine, because the difference between failing and falling forward, there's a huge difference. A lot of us, I've been failing at this business since 2021. That's okay. But I haven't quit, and my business still owned and operated. And that's any business owner that's going through it and made it successful. They had to start somewhere. And,
absolutely.
And that's the only advice I can give you, because if you don't start, you never will.
100%. I believe in doing something that scares you every day. And it doesn't mean you have to jump out of a plane. It just could be something little. Take a risk. You'll never know otherwise. And I agree with you that people are afraid of failing, and don't be afraid to fail, because failing makes you so much better. It makes you so much more successful. It makes you learn and it makes you grow. You have to embrace it.
And then I also do have a second bit of advice. Never stop learning. The most naive thing you can do is think you're going to start a business one day and have it all figured out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're not going to walk out of the door and everybody's just going to answer to you. Nobody's going to follow you. Nobody's gonna back your vision unless your vision is concrete, solid. So if you still are feeling hesitant about starting that business, hey, start that business, but follow it with action, and always follow with some education. Like, make sure you're learning from somebody.
I agree. So is there one person that you would consider to be your mentor, or somebody that you've looked up to? Could be from childhood, it could be from college or the military, or recently?
My biggest mentor would be, I'd have to say, my father. And it's really because it's really been a not just it hasn't just been a father-son relationship between me and him. He's also an offensive line coach as well. And I pretty much went step for step for how my dad served. And so my dad served military right after high school, went to play football right after the military, and then coached and taught for 30 years. And now is a drug and alcohol counselor, because he has 34 years. This month, my dad has 34 years clean and sober, everybody.
Oh, congratulations to your dad.
Shout out Coach Melvin Branch of Port Arthur, Texas. Thank you, everybody.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, if anybody is my mentor and the driving force behind Coach Six, it is definitely that man. He has given me every tool and everything to become the man I am today. And that is not taken from anybody who's helped me, anybody who has pushed me, but I am him. And if you ever want to check the resume, just look at that man.
Well, I love that. And I love that he's celebrating his sobriety. That's a huge feat to overcome. And I have so much respect for him. So now it's time for my Fearless 5. So you get 5 questions. You have to answer 3 of them. You get 2 passes. We already answered one of them, which was, do you have a nickname? Coach Six, I know it now. Number 1 is a little deeper. And it's something that I ask most of my guests because I find the answers to be really interesting. What is something that you think most people value that you don't necessarily value or subscribe to, and why?
Instant gratification. I think that we get caught up on wanting something to happen right now. Although I do find myself having the natural humanly urge to, it doesn't sit well with me, and it's not a natural feeling for me.
Yeah.
I know there's a process to things. I get frustrated with the process, but I enjoy the process.
That's a great answer. What subject would you like to learn more about?
Human anatomy. I would like to go deeper into human anatomy.
That would be great and helpful for what you do too.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this because it's on camera now, so I got to do it. But I do want to go back to school and get deeper into exercise, physiology, and all that. And maybe even just look into physical therapy.
Yeah, as a trainer, it's so important to know how to deal with people's injuries. And those are 2 wonderful answers. given you were in the military, I think I might know the answer to this question, but this one is taking the place of the nickname question. Is your bed made right now?
Yes.
Is it made with the hospital corners like they do in the military?
No, Crystal won't let me do it, man.
No. I know I do it too, because my father spent a little bit of time and he always did the hospital corner. So that's how I'm used to sleeping. And everybody kicks them off the bed. Nobody wants to be stuck in the bed with the hospital corners. Okay. What's more important, physical strength or mental strength? Mental.
That's not even a question. Mental. Because I've been physically strong and I've been mentally weak before. And I know it's always going to take over. You can bench press 400 pounds. If you are in the gym with a bad attitude and don't want to be there, you're not going to do it. It's that simple. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it. So
I hear you.
If you don't have that mental strength, it's all mentality will always kick in and take over.
I agree. Okay. One last one. What do you wish you had learned sooner?
Financial literacy. And I think every single person watching this podcast or any future podcast of Kelly's, financial literacy.
Yeah.
Americans, we don't know enough about money. And we are approaching our 30s, 40s, and 50s with nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to show but the work that we put in. So if anything, I could go back and be the first thing that I learned out of high school before taking my mind with college, financial literacy. That would be the first step.
I agree. They didn't teach it back when I was in high school and college, and my parents certainly didn't teach me. So I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But now I'm teaching young athletes and entertainers how to build passive income, because so important. Financial literacy is so important. Having multiple streams of income is so important. Having something tangible is so important as an asset. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, for your generosity, for your beautiful empathy. Where can people find you? What are your websites, your social media handles, and everything else?
So my social media handles are on Instagram. I'm Coach Six. That's Coach 2_6. And on Twitter, you can find me as The Real Coach Six. That is all I have right now. I don't have a website. Everybody books me through Instagram or Twitter.
Awesome.
You can find me at EBS Performance in Costa Mesa, California.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure that link is in there.
All right.
Thank you so much, Marcus. You're an absolute dream to have on the show. I hope you'll come back sometime.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate your time today, and you're doing an amazing job with everything.
Oh, thank you so much. You too.
Thank you for watching and listening to Kelly Minds Her Manners. Make sure to subscribe to the show, and don't forget to leave us a review to tell us what you liked about the episode. You can connect with Kelly at Kelly Minds Her Manners on Instagram and TikTok, or on our website, www.kellymindshermanners.com.